exercise is one of the
Tools.
best forms of staving off PD.
Mm.
I'm not a fan of exercise. I'd much rather, lie in the prone position on sofa.
Yeah.
But I do things like walking, like I live in Cork, so
Mm.
I always have to walk everywhere. And with Cork, if you're familiar with it,
Yeah.
where there's a downhill, there's
And
always an
uphill.
uphill.
Yeah.
And I make a point of, you know, going to get my milk, from the shop
Mm.
and going down and going back up, and that's a certain amount of steps, and then going for an actual walk, and then doing as much as I can, trying to keep as active as I can to just bring up those steps to, some days I'm like 10,000, other days I could be 20. So that's how I get my exercise. And I do find that it does huge amount with helping my Parkinson's.
Yeah, because
There
people
is
don't realize the rigidity and the stiffness that comes with it.
yes, the stiffness
And
and the rigidity.
yeah.
My medication kind of handles that. For me, it's the tremors and it's the involuntary movements,
Mm.
and it's the restless legs and the pain. So the medication that I'm on has really helped that, like, considerably. But there's always going to be times of emotional stress and emotional upset will absolutely throw it. I would be the worst poker player, Rossa, because you can tell what
Yeah.
I'm feeling because my hands just start going. I'm like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah.
So I, in terms of the degenerative, I take the kind of, I've just had to adopt the philosophy. I'm feeling well now,
Yeah.
and I embrace the now. I get the most out of every single day, and I'm so thankful for where I am. I don't know where we're going to be. Like for example, if I could just take you back, my father was diagnosed with early onset juvenile diabetes when he was in his 30s,
Wow.
and yet he died of a brain hemorrhage when he was 37.
Wow.
So he had a chronic illness
Mm.
that my mom was very much worried about and how this was going to affect him. And he finally got to sweet spot because he was prone to going into diabetic coma, and his diabetes was very bad. And he, with exercise and nutrition, he got it to a point where it was very manageable. And then life pulled the
Yeah.
pulled a fast one, and he died of something completely unrelated.
Yeah.
So the fact of the matter is, I could walk out of my house tomorrow and be knocked over by the 220 from Carrigaline.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Stay indoors, please. Stay indoors.
But I could. You don't know
You
what's
don't know.
going to happen.
Yeah.
I could live my life as I am now in a state where I can manage it, or I may not be able to manage it. But I can't. What use is it for me to just spend that time worrying?
About that, yeah. And does
That's all I
music
can
help you,
say.
Annmarie? Does music help you?
Music does. Music always helps.
Yeah.
I used to work, would you believe, a very long time ago in London for Kiss FM and Magic
Oh,
105.4.
wow.
And they were in the same room.
Yeah.
So we had our studios along the left-hand side, and there were banks of desks. So on one side was Kiss. So you'd hear, it was the early noughties. And so it was Daniel Bedingfield, Gotta Get Through This,
Yeah.
boop, 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 the UK garage.
Yeah.
And then on the other side would be Ronan Keating. And so we were somewhere in between in the middle of the room.
Mm.
And there was a sonic kind of cluster that happened. You'd hear Ronan Keating mixed with Daniel Bedingfield, and we were smack in the middle of it. And I remember thinking, this is like a fever dream.
And who won in the end, Ronan or Berryfield?
Oh, it was a fight to the death.
And there's a song that's traveled with you over the years, Annmarie, that's given you solace, strength, motivation, the lyrics, the sound of it.
I think there's two artists that I remember. One from when I was a teenager, and one from when I was in my early 20s. And I think it's the the lyrical content. Tori Amos, I remember
Yeah.
buying Little Earthquakes
Yeah.
when I was about 14. And then when I was around 21, I bought Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill.
Yeah.
And I had the same reaction
1991,
to both of them.
92. Is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's around that,
Yeah.
yeah. And I had such a visceral reaction to both of them. Visceral reaction to Alanis Morissette because it was just the sheer anger
Yeah.
and women weren't allowed to be
Angry.
angry. And I think she's like, all I really want, and like songs like that they were just like a clarion call. And I remember Tori Amos felt there was a poet there, and I
Mm.
loved poetry. And I remember her songs like Mother, and they were just so beautiful. There was something so serene and sacred about how she expressed herself. And I think as women, they were very vulnerable and they were very transparent. And that can be, when you're that vulnerable, that can be quite exposing.
Yeah.
And yet they were able to deal with it. I think there are two amazing artists. I that would stay with me.
I
Yeah.
agree with you. I mean, I know I was working in Boston at the time, and the American guy I worked with wouldn't let his daughter listen to Alanis. He thought there was bad language, and it was too tough for young girls to hear. It was probably the perfect thing for young girls to be listening to. It gave them power and understanding.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
It's like Black Lilith in astrology.
Yeah.
She was this woman who was kind of chastised for embracing her femininity and her sexuality, and she was passed away. And it's an archetype, of course.
Yeah.
But I think Alanis Morissette definitely set and she's it's funny because when you see her being interviewed and then you hear her voice
Yeah.
and you realize that women are layered in as much as men are.
Yeah.
And, you can be soft and in your delivery, but you can have a fire within you at the same time. And I do think she definitely, for me, I think that was one of the most seminal artists and seminal albums, I think, definitely of the late 90s. I think she's iconic. She's
Yeah, she
iconic.
is. And quotes, any come to mind that you would turn to or use? You're a
I'm
writer
gonna
yourself.
leave
You
this-
studied lit. You did all the English. You must have someone out there.
I tell you what, you're gonna laugh now because
Some Mickey
I'll
Mouse
remember.
goes for Winnie the Pooh or something.
I'll think of something after this call, but there's something that I keep seeing on the internet and it makes me laugh. Go big or go home. People who say go big or go home seriously underestimate my willingness to go home. And I love that because I'm such a home bird and like given half a chance and a bag of peanut M&Ms, I'm at home. That's, and even when I go to an event, I'm like, how soon can I leave?
Get out of here.
To myself.
Hey, that's not the public image you have, a fashion editor being out there and about. So we know the truth, though. I mean, I quote this from Brendan O'Brien a lot. When anyone asks me about the Irish character, I say, look at the trees, maimed, stark, misshapen, but ferociously tenacious. Would you say that's Irish?
I think so. I think, however, I think Irishness is changing. I always see Irishness as there's a narrative through line, but a load of individual stories. I think everyone as a culture, like as we diversify, I think it's a beautiful thing. Our meaning of Irishness broadens, and we get to accommodate these new perspectives and ways of living. But ultimately, there's that archetype of the rebellious, resilient, cheeky, gregarious, warm nation. And I think that stands as like a lodestone or a North Star, especially when we're abroad. It gives us a sense of like identity and purpose. and it's something